Now let's get back to acids, bases, and salts. I'm going to start one more time. All right. So why do we study about acids, bases, and salts? So you must be wondering why we have to deal with all this. That is because everything around you has some form of acids, bases, or salts. It is pretty much used in every single. It says, okay, she's asking if coffee is acidic or basic. Good question. Is coffee acidic or basic? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Ma'am, but according to bases, like bases are bitter, right?
Yeah, maybe coffee is bitter then. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, base.
Ma'am, but in our textbook, there was a question there to find out that coffee is a acid or a base, but it says that the bases are bitter in taste, but they are saying that without any taste, we should not say that they are bases.
Without any test, yeah. Without any test, you should not reach to the conclusion that they are bases. But yeah, the best way to check something is by doing a pH test. That is right.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I just searched and it was acidic.
Oh, it was acidic?
But it
Okay.
has the pH level of 4.85 to 5.10. Ma'am, but if it tastes bitter, so how is it acidic?
I think that the bitter taste does not, yeah, acids taste sour, but I don't know. Bitter taste probably comes from some compound. It is not, and that compound, that particular compound may be basic, but maybe the rest of coffee, or I don't know, like the rest of coffee might be acidic in nature, but the dominating taste might be bitter. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why that is the case, but as you can see, obviously, since she said acids are actually acidic in nature, and even though they taste bitter, they are not. For example, bitter gourd, right? Even bitter gourd tastes bitter, but is it a base?
I don't think so, ma'am.
Oh, apparently it is a base. Okay, yeah, so bitter gourd is a base. I mean, it does have a base in it as dominating. So I don't know why coffee is acidic. I have no idea. Good question. Okay, so I will look this up and I'll let you know why that is the case. But yeah, coffee is acidic and bitter gourd is basic. So yeah, I have no idea why coffee is acidic, and I will let you know in the next class, okay? All right, so let's get back to the presentation. So yes, the taste among all of these is that it is sour. Okay, so sour, sour, however you pronounce it. So acid comes from the word acidus or acer, meaning sour. So acids generally taste sour. Again, that is not the, do not try to taste everything and tell if it is an acid or a base, because again, like we saw, that does not tell you the whether something is an acid or a base. It will just tell you the taste, and most of the times it is not safe to do that. So always use a pH scale to test if something is an acid or a base. So usually acids are sour. When you immerse acids in aqueous solution, they release H plus ions. Okay. So yes.
Ma'am, what is butter? I know it's like what is butter?
Butter. Are you asking me if it is acid or base?
Yes, ma'am. I know it's
Ma'am,
I
yeah.
know it's basic, but like last class when we were doing acid and base, you said that butter is not neither basic or acidic. But
Yes.
butter has almost all the things and base has, right?
Yeah, That's right. But it's neither acidic or basic.
But why?
Okay. What is the requirement for something to be acidic or basic?
It has to be, for acidic, it has to be sour.
Okay. What else? It's on the slide. Just read the slide.
Ma'am, it has to release H2SI.
Yes. Yes, Priscilla. Go ahead.
Ma'am, it should release ma'am, bases should release OH minus ions, meaning the compound should also have hydroxide.
Correct. Compound should have hydroxide, yes. And more importantly, the compound should be an ionic compound, not a covalent compound. A covalent compound will neither be acidic nor basic. Okay? Only ionic compounds can be acidic or basic. Does that make sense? That is why they can release ions, right? Only if a compound is ionic, or only if a compound is ionic, can it release ions. If it is not even ionic, how will it release ions? It can't. Is it stuck for everybody?
No, ma'am.
Priscilla, log out and log back in. Unmana, you tell me what are the examples of ionic compounds? Anybody else? Carbon is an element. We are talking about compounds, right? NaCl is a compound, yes. It is an ionic compound. HCl is an ionic compound. Yes, Karthik, you may say.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, an ionic compound is a chemical compound, ma'am, that is composed of ions held together. Ma'am, ma'am, they are termed by ionic bonding, and I know this much.
Okay, good job.
Ma'am, what did you say till now?
Yeah, so Priscilla, I was asking you, I was asking you some examples of ionic compounds.
Ma'am, sodium chloride, magnesium oxide.
Yes.
Silver nitrate.
Yes. Okay, so Unmana's question is, how do you find whether something is ionic or not?
Ma'am, can I tell?
Yeah.
Like, so in ionic bonds, valencies matter a lot. So, and it always happens between non-metals and metals.
Very good. Yes.
But in covalent bonds, it happens between two non-metals, and they always share electrons. They don't have negative or positive charges.
Very good. So covalent bonds happen between two non-metals, and ionic bonds happen between a metal and a non-metal. Did you understand, Unmana? Okay. All right. So now let us get back. Yes, Bhavya, CaCO3 is also ionic. Very good. Okay. So when you immerse acids in aqueous solution, they release H plus ions. Okay, now because butter is a covalent compound, okay, butter is a covalent compound, it does not release H plus ions or OH minus ions, so it is neither acidic nor basic. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this. So they release H plus ions and they change litmus solution to red. So that means if I have litmus solution is generally transparent in color. If I add some acid in it, it changes to red color. Okay. However, if I have litmus paper, it changes blue litmus paper to red. But here I'm talking about litmus solution, okay? And acids conduct electricity. Wherever we have charges, okay, wherever we are talking about charges, charges will always conduct electricity, okay? So if I put some metal in acid, what happens? So for example, if I put, if I put zinc or iron inside,
Ma'am, does it corrode?
yes, it corrodes. What else?
Ma'am, it makes a new substance.
Yes. Okay, so we will see this later on as to what will happen, okay? So just keep this in mind. What happens when we put metal inside an acid, okay? Just to let you know, hydrogen gas is released, okay? So whenever I put metal in acid, hydrogen gas is released, okay? And we'll see the chemical reaction later on, but just know that hydrogen gas is released. Now, examples of acids are HCl, H2SO4. Okay, there are some more examples, but right now I just have given you these two examples. So HCl is H plus ion and Cl minus ion. What about H2SO4?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
See, HCl, we can split HCl into H plus ion and Cl minus ion. What about H2SO4?
Ma'am, like hydrogen and SO4, like sulfate.
Hydrogen, yes, that is correct. Hydrogen and sulfate. So H2 plus and SO4 2 minus. Okay, very good. Let's take a look. I won't call it. Okay, let's take a look.
Ma'am, I
So
have a
I have,
doubt.
yes,
Why do we write like PHP small and H in capital?
because it is, so we want to say that this is a element. And if I say P and H, then this almost seems like phosphorus, right? But that is not phosphorus. It means power of hydrogen. So just in order to make sure that it does not come across as a compound, but it comes across as the statement power of hydrogen, we write it as small p and capital H.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, oh, it's written over here. All right. So I'm just going to erase. All right, so let's look at H2SO4. In H2SO4, what happens? I have SO4 2 minus, this is my ion, and I have H plus, okay? Not H2 plus, just H plus. Then what happens? I do the crisscross method and I end up getting H2SO4. Is this clear to everyone?
Ma'am, I think I got the answer. Put some metal in acid.
So, oh, okay, we'll discuss that later on, Priscilla, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Let me know if you understood how H2SO4 is an ionic compound. Bhavya, Vatsala, Arna?
Ma'am, but I have a doubt.
Yeah.
But hydrogen is not a metal, right?
Hydrogen is not, oh, hydrogen is neither a metal nor a non-metal. So it can behave as either of them depending on the other compound.
No, ma'am, but not in terms of that. But my ma'am says that it comes in the non-metals group only, but they keep it there because of the atomic number.
That is correct, yes.
Then, ma'am, then we can also say that Water is also an ionic because it's following the valency, right?
No, but it's sharing electrons, right? It's not transferring electrons.
Repeat what happened. I got disconnected.
So we were talking about H2SO4.
Ma'am, can you repeat the H2SO4 part because I got disconnected?
Yeah, I'll do that. So H2SO4 is an ionic compound. So my question was, how is it an ionic compound? So the way it works is, I have H plus ions. Obviously, it is an acid. It needs to have H plus ions. So I'll write H plus. And I also have SO4 2 minus ions. Okay, so this is an ionic compound. Sorry, this is an ionic compound, or this is a ionic molecule. Okay, so I will just call this as an ionic molecule, and this is an ionic atom, and both of them interact with each other. So I'm just going to say they exchange their if I do a cross multiplication or
Valencies.
crisscross method, yeah, they exchange their valency.
And what were you calling SO24 or SO42?
Sorry?
Ma'am, she's asking what is SO4, but minus 2 valency.
No, like what were you calling that? I was asking that.
Sulfuric acid?
Okay,
ma'am. She's asking only SO4.
Ma'am, like you said ionic bonds or something.
Oh, okay. Ionic molecule.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Actually, no, it is molecular ion.
Ma'am, actually it's a radical.
No, you can call it a ion as well. That is, you can call it just a radical as well, or you can call it an ion as well. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So this is how we get H2SO4 by crisscross method. What happens without taking the sign? You just take the number and you put it over here. And without taking the sign, you just put the number and you take it over here. So we don't really write one. So I'm just going to erase this and you end up getting H2SO4. Is this clear now, Unmana? Take the sign into consideration. So the plus sign and the minus sign, they kind of balance each other out. But whenever you do the crisscross method, you never take sign into consideration. You only take the valency. All right. So just 1 second, guys. All right. So I guess this is, I think Priscilla, you had some question about hydrogen. Did you understand that?
Which one, ma'am?
You had some question about hydrogen being metal, non-metal, something like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand?
Like, I understand that it behaves like both, but why? How?
Okay, so let's draw.
Ma'am, except for the valency, it can give or take, but except that it doesn't have one characteristic of a metal.
Yeah, it does not have any characteristic of a metal except that it can give away its electron. Okay, metals give away their electrons, right? And hydrogen also can give away its electron. So except for that, it doesn't have any characteristics of a metal. Priscilla, did you understand? Okay, I'm going to proceed. So the way you test if something is a strong acid or a weak acid or a strong base or a weak base is using a pH scale. A pH scale will tell you what is the strength of an acid, and it tells you the strength by looking at the number of H plus ions it can release, or not the number, the concentration of the H plus ions it can release. So the more number of H plus ions it releases, the more acidic it is. The less number of H plus ions it releases, the less acidic it is. So in a pH scale, alkaline alkaline compounds are least acidic, and so basically they don't release any H plus ions. In fact, they take up H plus ions, or they release OH minus ions. So the concentration of H plus ions increases in this direction. So more number of H plus ions are there in this direction, and less number of H plus ions are there in this on this side. So that is why this is called as the power of hydrogen. Clear?